You there.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk tuah and spit on that thing, you get me?
Please end my suffering. First, let's go over the rules. I can only damage enemies with the Serpent Stone power. I can use any other spell, stone, weapon, power, etc. as long as I don't damage any enemies with them. I'm not allowed to bring any followers with me unless they're part of a quest. Finally, I must play on Adept difficulty at all times. Now, with that all aside, let's get started. The intro of Skyrim goes as it always does.
General Tullius, sir. The throat goat is waiting.
Wait, what? And I make my character, doing the best recreation of the legend I can with the Skyrim character creator. After a Stormcloak gets the wrong kind of head, I'm next on the chopping block to get mine removed, but Alduin shows up in the nick of time to save me. Not for any righteous reason, mind you, he just got Elder Scrolled in the wrong place at the wrong time. Hauling ass through the keep, I try to see if you can resurrect Gunjar, but no dice. So I load back a save, and due to my inability to attack, have to run past everything while looting the place like a magpie. I'll want to get the Serpent Stone as soon as possible, but for the time being, the Thief Stone should give me a marginal advantage. I then wanted to see if I could get this bandit to chase me into town where he gets killed by the guards, and it works better than expected, as he suffers a humiliating death from an incel bard. Since I'm in the area, I might as well pick up the Golden Claw quest for later and sell everything I don't need to Lucan in exchange for oak flesh and some healing potions. Instead of taking a carriage to Winterhold, which is the closest location to the Serpent Stone, I take a carriage to Windhelm since Galmar marks the location on your map. Wearing the armor of the enemy faction in the war is probably not the best idea, so I give Ulfric a little show. Now with the stone on my map, I take a carriage to Winterhold and begin to head there for real. There's nothing really noteworthy on the way, as I just avoid all the enemies, and before you know it, I've obtained the Serpent Stone. As you can see, it paralyzes targets and does 25 points of damage to them per second for 5 seconds. Since I'm in the area, I figure marking Septimus's outpost on my map for later would be smart. What I didn't expect is that you can get the Elder Scroll as soon as you leave Helgen. I honestly forgot this was possible. Well, I'll worry about that later. For now, I've got to test my Hawk Tuah on some wolves. I'm freaky like that, don't judge me. One Hawk Tuah is enough to immobilize and quickly kill a wolf, which is good and all, but there's a problem. You can only use the power once per day, and waiting in Skyrim is slower than a snail with Parkinson's. Just use a mod or edit the ini files to make waiting faster, you might say. Yeah, I tried that, and for some reason, it didn't work. Luckily, after marking Mzulft on my map, I find a way to solve this little conundrum, which involves taking a ride to Markarth. To be fair, I'm not going to be fully relying on my plan, as I save a woman's life by Hawk Tuahing a potential assassin. I then see a scavenger looting the corpses of some Imperials and Stormcloaks, an encounter I've never seen before, so I Hawk Tuah him, and while he's paralyzed, take his treasure and run for the hills. A short jog later, I come across the ghost of a Nordic woman who wants me to discover something about the dwarves. I also come across her body, which I try to see if I can resurrect, but again, no dice. I hit a kinetic resonator with a greatsword, which I already established is okay in the rules,
Run like hell.
from some Falmer, grab Zephyr, and solve a puzzle to obtain a shard of Aetherium. That sounds like some sort of crypto scam, which I can tell you my character is very fond of, so I head off to find some more. The first place I have to go is, luckily enough, in the Reach, so after discovering the Lover's Stone, I head to a dwarven ruin full of Parite worshippers whose Hawk Tuah skills outclass even my own. Except they don't show up until you start their quest. Now the joke of them spitting acid at me doesn't make sense. Anyways, from there, I can head over to Deep Folk Crossing where I get a shard of Aetherium just sitting out in the open. Why someone hasn't taken the shiny blue rock already is beyond me. Next one is near Windhelm, so after trying and failing to do an MLG jump off the bridge, I eventually just scale it down the Lamo way, discover Anja's Mill, and from there make my way to Raldbathar, which is full of bandits, spiders, marble people, Falmer, and all sorts of other exciting prizes. With my armor, healing and oak flesh spells, potions, and a whole lot of luck, I eventually managed to run through the place by the skin of my teeth and grab another piece of crystal meth. And then I end up in Blackreach. Not one to let an opportunity go to waste, I head into Sindarian's lab, narrowly avoiding some dwarven bolts being shoved deep inside me, and get to work disenchanting some things and making a bunch of potions for EXP. Then, I run like a scamp with its head cut off to Mazark, where I smash my face against some buttons until I get access to the astral roll of toilet paper. This little maneuver is going to save us about 51 years in the main quest. I also leveled up during this, where I get the Haggler perk. If my character can convince people to buy fake money based around slobbering on wieners, she could sell just about anything. After stopping by Windhelm to sell some things, I take a hike to the dwarven ruins of Mazulft. Thankfully, there's no Falmer and Marbleman dodging going on here, as the shard I need is in an uneventful room to the side. With all 3 shards collected, it's now time to head over to the Aetherial Forge, and this is by far the trickiest one to get to as it's near Iverstead, quite a distance away. I even steal a random horse to make things go a bit quicker before accidentally dropping it off a cliff. Once I make it to Iverstead, it's just a short jog over to the forge, where I almost get eaten by a bear, and Katria can take care of a few bandits while I hawk Tuah on the forge so good it erects itself violently out of the ground. Katria is more than capable of taking out the first waves of spiders and marblemen, as even if she goes down, she just poofs back into existence a few moments later. The Forge Master, however, is where I hit a snag. It regenerates health over time, so no matter how well Katria does, it'll just recover all the damage she inflicted while she recovers from being downed, and due to its deadly fire breath, she goes down very easily. Even turning the difficulty from Adept to Novice doesn't help. So, seeing no other option, I give myself the Wabbajack using the console, and turn the Forge Master into a sweet roll, which I promptly toss back into the lava from whence it came. I also tossed the Wabbajack into the lava so I wouldn't be tempted to use it again. Who knows, maybe the two will merge in the lava and turn back into the Forge Master after thousands of years of molecular chance. Anyways, I grab everything I need and forge what I did all this for, the Ethereal Crown. It provides no armor but retains the last standing stone ability you had in addition to your current stone. Why is this helpful? Well, binding the Serpent Stone onto it using a different stone, I chose the Lover Stone for obvious reasons, allows you to equip it and unequip it to get your Serpent Stone power back immediately, with no 24-hour wait time required. This also works with the Ritual Stone, Shadow Stone, and Tower Stone. With this newfound ability, I quite easily make it through Bleak Falls Barrow. Unfortunately, OBS crapped out on me, so I don't have the footage. Just know that the Serpent Stone damage does work on the undead, and it did paralyze them, so I was able to stun lock every Draugr in there with little difficulty. Don't exactly know how poison affects the undead, but it's an astral gift given by Aetherius, so I really shouldn't question it. Funnily enough, OBS started working as soon as I created the drip. Anyways, my next task is to hawk Tuah on a dragon until it stops twitching. To my surprise, the Serpent Stone does work on dragons, even though they were immune to poison in my Mirax Robes challenge. I'm not complaining though, as it lets me score an easy enough win and perform the Gawk Gawk Double Vacuum Seal Soul Sucker 3000 to confirm my status as the last Dragonborn. Before continuing the main quest, I think there's something I should do to really cement my status as the greatest hawk tour in all the land. Just fucking end it, man. I go to the Temple of Dibella and, for the crime of trespassing, am tasked with forcing a child into their weird cult. I'm thinking I should get the Markarth Guard to clear out this den of degeneracy, but I have to stay true to the character. Arriving at Karth Wasten, which after a cursory glance should probably be called Karth Wasteland, I intimidate someone into selling their land, find out where the child is, and get some easy gold from some silver blood thugs. The Forsworn there are no match for my legendary DSL of paralyzing,
Mine.
and I make it to where the child is being kept. If you're ever playing this game normally, here's a little tip. You can paralyze a Forsworn Briarheart and pickpocket their heart to kill them instantly. I still load back a save and kill them normally, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Now that all the Forsworn have been taught to the child! I bring her to the temple, drink some e-girl bathwater, and now do extra damage against the opposite sex, which I'd say is quite fitting for the character. Now, back on track. I meet the Greybeards, who want to show that I'm Dragonborn by using my unrelenting force shout on some astral projections. No problem, I'll just equip the shout and... Oh god. What has my life become? After traumatizing myself, I head outside, turn into Sonic for a brief moment.
Now, your turn.
And now have to make the Greybeards horny, bring them a horn. One trip to Morthal and a skip on over to Ustengrav later, I snipe some skeletons with pretty impressive accuracy if I do say so myself, get the Become Earl Grey shout, whirlwind sprint past some gates, hawk to some spiders before they can hawk to me back, and before you know it, I've got the horn, don't got the horn. And now some weirdo cultists are trying to kill me.
Oh shit, not good.
While I hawk to them a little, Alvor and the guards really come in clutch here. Meeting Delphine, who I only now realized is really short, she gives me the horn and tells me to spit on another dragon to prove my legitimacy. But before that, I get yelled at by some old men and get the final word of unrelenting force.
Hawk! Spit on that name!
And before you ask, yes, the rent is that high. Delphine acts as excellent bait for the lizard as I hawk loogies at it from a distance, and it goes down rather easily, where Delphine then formulates the next part of her plan, slipping into a fascist elf party. Great. I then give Malborn all my mortal possessions,
You can't go to a party at the Thalmor Embassy dressed like that.
get Razalin cancelled,
Nothing could be more unlikely than that someone would actually want her in their bed. Although, most of you are already in bed with her.
and show the Thalmor that internet fame beats magical prowess any day of the week. I try to save Malborn at the end, but he somehow misses all his attacks against a paralyzed opponent, so I leave him in the cave to his fate. Yeah, just gonna... Next up is finding Esbern, one of Delphine's friends, in Fantasy Detroit, and since I know this Khajiit is a Thalmor spy, I hawk to her to death out of view of everyone else. The rest of the Ratway is piss easy, as there are only beggars and brigands down here, and once I get to the vaults, we've got more Thalmor to take out. I already showed I'm very much capable of doing so let's just breeze past that. I got curious and wanted to see if Esbern actually unlocks his door when you talk to him. He doesn't, he just opens it with his mind. Regardless, we escape the Ratways and make our way to Carvespire, where I ignore all the Forsworn and the dragon outside, deal with the ones inside, and breeze my way past the puzzles as I've done them many times before. I then cut my hand with a knife I don't have to bleed blood that's not visible to open a door, listen to an art history lesson, and find out that I need a shout to take down the big bad dragon. Wait, no, that was poorly phrased. After some persuasion, Arngir decides to help me by giving me Rain Rain Go Away Come Again Another Day in the form of a shout, which I use to climb High Hrothgar and have a chat with partial tax. He then asked me to show my power to him. Alright.
Hawk! Spit on that name!
Oh, you meant... Oh, sorry.
Even for one of Dova's sauce.
Since I already have the title of the franchise, I can do battle with Alduin right away. The first half of the fight consists of me dragon rending him so he can't fly away, while Party Snacks distracts him, and I hawk to repeatedly while healing from his meteors. After Party Snacks goes down, Alduin changes his position, so I have to go behind and out of cover over and over again to avoid being roasted. It takes some time, but eventually I get the last Hawk 2 on him, ending the fight. Of course, nothing is that simple, so Alduin activates TGM and flies away, meaning I have to chase his ass to Sovngarde. So, remember when I let Galmar mark the Serpentstone on my map? That was a mistake. See, if you start the Stormcloak questline, Ulfric won't talk to you about the Peace Council unless you complete the objectives given to you. Simple, I'll just kill the Ice Wraith, head back, and report my progress, right? Well, no, as now I have to do the Jagged Crown quest as well before he'll talk to me. At this point, I'm ready for this run to be over, so I just use Become Unethical to zip past all the soldiers and get it over with. Finally, I can talk to Ulfric about the Peace Council, sit through it, call down Odahviing, choke him like the bad boy he is, and get him to fly me to Alduin's hideout. Like with the previous quest, I just run past all the Draugr and tank their damage for the most part, except for the Draugr Overlord, which you have to kill to progress. I briefly considered killing the Dragon Priest, but upon realizing he can't be paralyzed, gave up on that idea rather quickly. I hawk Tuah, the oily, muscly man, until he can't take it anymore, spit in Alduin's general direction as a sign of disrespect, and he flies out of the mist to adjust my attitude personally. You know the drill. I beat him once with 1 ally, I can beat him again with 3. With the last hawk Tuah, the World Eater is defeated, and I did not beat Skyrim with only hawk Tuah.